another car video. So as you can see, I'm back home. I'm so tired, you guys. I feel like I've been awake for like a week straight. But I wanted to make this video. This is gonna be like a little two-part video. There's like two things that I kind of want to touch on in this video that are both related. And they've kind of been ongoing. It's like ongoing from this whole fucking stupid ass colorism conversation. I hate having this conversation. In my last video that I did on colorism, so not the systemic oppression, so like not my last video that I did in Toronto, but like my actual video that I like made the title like last video on colorism ever. I even said like I hate talking about this shit because like there's no debate. There's no debate. People like to act like there's a debate, like we're having a debate, we're having an argument or something, and like there's no debate. Like colorism exists. This is a fact. It's not a debate. It's not a matter of opinion. You know, we're talking about something that exists on a systemic scale, you know, in terms of infrastructure, something that's been proven, that studies have followed for generations and for years and have literally proven that skin color impacts the way that you are treated by systems like government, prison, school. So it's not even a debate. Like, and I hate having this conversation because people really feel like they can debate over this. And it's just like, are we also going to debate about, like, I don't know, the fact that we live on Earth next? Like, you know, like it's stupid. Just like it's exactly the same as when like white people want to talk about how they don't have white privilege. Like, no, we're not debating. It's not. It's like it's not an opinion. It's not a matter of opinion. It's fact. So the first thing I wanted to say in this video with regards to that is all skin folk ain't kinfolk. PSA, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. If you don't know what that saying means, if you've never heard that saying, I believe that's an American saying. Basically what it means is that just because somebody is your same race does not mean they're on your side, does not mean they're on your team, does not mean they're family, does not mean they're kin. They are skin folk, but they are not kinfolk. A prime example of all skin folk and kinfolk would be all these black quarterbacks and all these black football players talking about Colin Kaepernick. Prime example. You know, here you have somebody that's speaking out about oppression and injustice, and these other black football players are running to throw him up under the bus. They might be skin folk, but they are not motherfucking kinfolk. And it's very clear to me, and I said the same thing in my colorism video, and someone actually left a comment on my my last colorism ever video, which is like 2 years old. My whole series of videos on colorism are from 2015. So it's like here we are in 2017 and y'all are like still with these like same tired ass fucking talking points, sounding like some motherfucking white people. Like, just like how white people say like, oh, I don't have white privilege, you know, I too am oppressed as a human being, and y'all are so petty, making it about Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, it's about class, not race, I'm oppressed as a poor person, you can't tell me that I have white privilege. That's exactly how y'all sound. Y'all use literally the exact same talking points when we get to talking about colorism and light skin privilege. Y'all literally say those exact same words. Oh, we're oppressed exactly the same. We don't have light privilege. Y'all sound so petty wanting to talk about colorism. And I've said before that like we do live in a racist, sexist, white supremacist society that conditions us to have certain beliefs, right? And white people, this manifests in racism. Yes, all white people. And black people, this manifests in colorism and internalized anti-blackness. Like, I don't know what else to say. And to like hear y'all literally repeat these motherfucking talking points and this deflection that you learned from fucking massa is just ridiculous. Like, y'all can understand that poor white people have privilege because they're white, but y'all can't understand that light-skinned people have privilege because they're light-skinned. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, what? I put on Twitter, I was like a prime example of the way colorism works. I was like, light-skinned house slaves, right? Since we always want to like bring that shit up. I was like, light-skinned house slaves are slaves, yes. Meaning they are oppressed as black people, yes. However, they get to be in the house and not in the field because they're light-skinned. That is privilege. They have the privilege of being in the house. Are they still slaves? 100%. Are they still being oppressed? 100%. Are they out in the hot sun with the darkies? No. Okay? There is a difference. There is a difference, and people don't want to talk about it. And I literally say all these exact same things in my last video, which is called like the last video about colorism and light skin guilt. People don't want to accept these things because nobody wants to feel like they have privilege. Nobody wants to feel like they have privilege and that they're taking something away from their fellow black person. So it's easier to just pretend that you don't have privilege. But the thing about pretending that you don't have privilege is the fact that privilege, any amount of privilege, even the littlest, smallest amount of privilege, translates into power. Point 2 of this video, PSA, you have power. This nigga tried to come for me on Twitter talking about, I don't have any power as a light-skinned person. I'm powerless. All the power lays in the hands of white people. I was like, number one, I feel bad for you that you don't have no fucking spine, that you don't think that there's anything you can do to fight against oppression except, I don't know, wait for massa. I don't know. Wait for massa to fucking free you. Like it's a lot of niggas that if this was still slavery times, they would be sitting around with their thumbs up their assholes waiting for massa to motherfucking free them. Okay? Like people that really genuinely believe in their heart of hearts that they have no power, that there's nothing they can do. If you are light skinned and you have light skin privilege, right? You can enter into certain spaces that it would be harder for darker skinned people to operate in without making people uncomfortable because of their skin color, because this is proven. You know, Andre 3000, who y'all love to death, wore a jumpsuit that said, you know, across all cultures, darker skinned people suffer most. Why? Like, y'all are living in motherfucking denial if you don't believe that this is a fucking thing, right? And if you don't believe that this is a thing, and if you don't believe that you can even use your light skin, if you number one, you have your head in the sand, you don't even want to believe that you have light skin privilege, even though it's been statistically motherfucking proven, that makes you willfully ignorant. You are willfully ignorant. You want to be ignorant. You don't want facts. You don't want statistics. You don't want the truth. You're not ready to be unplugged from the fucking matrix. Your mind is not ready. Like, you want to hold on to these false motherfucking beliefs and these delusions that you have that we are all being oppressed in the exact same way, when that's just not true. If you are a man, you have certain types of male privilege that allows you to enter into certain spaces, right? If you are able-bodied, you're able to even physically move into certain spaces and do different things. All these different facets of privilege do play out as power dynamics. Just because you have a little bit of power as being a light-skinned person or being an able-bodied person does not automatically mean that you are no longer being oppressed as a black person. Yet again, for the second time in this video, somehow we understand this when we're talking about white people, right? When we're talking about how white people could be dirt poor, dirt fucking poor, and yet still benefit from white privilege. Somehow we understand that. We don't understand how niggas can be oppressed because they're black, yet still have certain amount of privilege as light skin. All of a sudden we're fucking stupid and we can't comprehend. I have a friend that's like, you know, in a lot of ways, in terms of this black liberation movement, we've reached a certain point where it's very easy to talk about white people in a lot of ways. You know, we can all kind of agree that blackface is bad at this point. We can all kind of agree that police brutality is bad. We can all kind of agree, which is why I stopped making videos. I said, like, I'm not going to make videos anymore about individual instances of police brutality. I'm not going to make, you know, it's certain videos that I personally don't make anymore because, like, I don't know, this is an advanced class. We're not talking about that shit anymore. And yet, when we start talking about divisions amongst ourselves, black people, all of a sudden, niggas can't understand what the deal is, right? And I feel like in a lot of ways, that is what needs to be the next step of this movement, because again, all skinfolk and kinfolk, I always say that revolution is like a car. Everybody gets to play their position. It's a lot of y'all niggas that I would not want riding in the car with me because y'all would stab me in the back, because all skinfolk and kinfolk, like, it's a lot of y'all that want to leave. You know, if we getting in the car revolution, It's a lot of y'all that want to leave dark-skinned people behind. It's a lot of y'all that want to leave women behind. It's a lot of y'all that want to leave non-binary people behind. Like, it's a lot of y'all that, you know, you can understand, oh, I have a problem with white people, but y'all can't understand the way that our own facets of privilege even play out amongst ourselves. You know, it's a lot of y'all continental Africans that would leave motherfucking black Americans behind. It's a lot of black Americans that would leave continental Africans behind. When we start talking about, again, these isms and colorism and divisions within the diaspora and continental American versus black American, the number one thing people want to say is we shouldn't even be talking about this shit because it's divisive. Divisive at this point is just like a fucking call, whistle, one of them dog whistle terms that means I don't want to engage with what you're actually saying. I don't want to listen to what you're saying. And if a dark-skinned person, just sticking with that example, says to a light-skinned person, like, I am being oppressed in a certain type of way. Here are all the numbers. Here are all the studies. Here are all the facts that show darker-skinned women are 3 times more likely to get school suspensions and longer school suspensions than light-skinned women. Here are the studies that say that darker-skinned women face longer prison sentences than light-skinned women. Here are the facts. You know, my fellow black person, and that light-skinned person says, well, but what about me and my individual experience? My individual experience outweighs your systemic oppression, and I don't want to hear about your systemic oppression, even though it's been proven that, like, you have it worse than me, and you're being divisive. It's like, no, actually, you light-skinned motherfucker, you're being divisive. All of y'all that just want us to shut up instead of actually trying to talk about and work through and heal these divisions, y'all are the ones that are actually being divisive, and y'all are not kinfolk. Y'all might be skinfolk, but y'all are not kinfolk, and y'all not getting in the motherfucking revolutionary car with me, because you're not going to make me fucking crash because you stabbing me in the back. Like, and also because you don't want to believe that you have any type of privilege. You don't want to believe that you have any type of power. Like, you're literally waiting for, I don't know, for a white person to come and free you. I don't even know what the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas. But again, 2 points. All skinfolk ain't kinfolk. A lot of people do not want to deal with the fucking problems that need to be dealt with in order for all of us to become free. And a lot of people really genuinely believe in their heart of hearts that they don't have any power. And it's like, black people, you have power. You have power. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. Prime example, I was going to a restaurant. They have a ramp. If you found me on Twitter, you saw this. You might have even seen it the day that it happened. They have a ramp, right? I went to go through the ramp door. The door was locked. It was a sign that said, like, oh, the door is not open today or something like that. To get into the restaurant, you had to go down a set of stairs. I can go down a set of stairs, luckily. Like, I'm able-bodied. I can go downstairs. I luckily have full use of my legs, my back. I don't have any type of heart problems or anything like that. But I have a cousin that's in a wheelchair, right? And we grew up together. So I know I'm, like, hyper aware about that kind of thing, but really we should all be thinking about that kind of fucking thing. I thought about my cousin that's in a wheelchair, and I said to him when I got to the front, I was like, you know, it's really like, I'm pretty sure, number one, that it's illegal that you have to have ramp access in a public, you know, establishment, a business like a restaurant. I was like, but number two, like, what if it's people that's, like, not able-bodied that can't get down these stairs, or what if it's somebody with a stroller, or, you know, like, it's just, you need to have your ramp door open, right? That was me, like, using my able-bodied privilege, like, to say something, you know? I was using that little bit of power that I had in that moment. Now, does that little bit of power outweigh me being oppressed as a black woman in this country? No! And the fact that y'all even think in terms of these motherfucking binaries is so weird to me. Like, it's so fucking bizarre the way y'all think in terms of these binaries. Like, oh, you're saying I have privilege, so you're saying I'm not oppressed. That's really some white people shit. Like, y'all are really on page 2, verse 2 of the white people handbook of motherfucking deflection from the real issues. Like, oppression and privilege can and does work in tandem. It's not a binary either or type thing. So many things, especially in terms of the sliding scales of identity, which I've talked about before, that's intersectionality. Kimberly Crenshaw. That's intersectionality in a nutshell. How are all these different things impacting my experience? And y'all about dumb as fuck to really fix your fucking faces to say, oh, we're all being oppressed exactly the same. Like, that's a patently false statement. It's an easily, like, disproven statement. Y'all are willfully ignorant. And Maxine Waters, reclaiming my time again. It's no point in even like people thinking this is a debate or argument. Like, no, I'm not wasting my time debating and motherfucking arguing and all this other shit, because it's no argument. Y'all don't even have an argument. You're like, the shit you're saying is literally false. It's false. It's some made up ass shit that y'all niggas made up in your minds because you don't want to reconcile the fact that you do have a little bit of privilege, which translates into a little bit of power. I have a video on privilege, and I say in that video about white people, because that's a video about white people, that I'm like, if white people were really real, instead of denying that they had privilege, they would use their white privilege to enter into white spaces and up in the system. And I said the same thing to y'all niggas. If you light skin and you have a little bit of light skin privilege, use that privilege to enter into certain spaces and dismantle some shit, right? Like, if you able-bodied and you could go in a restaurant and be like, niggas, you need to open up your ramp door, do that shit. Deny it for what? Like I did say in my systemic oppression video, if you're gonna click on this video because you think I'm cute, you think I have some type of pretty privilege, you're gonna get this motherfucking message. But like, y'all don't even want to unplug. Y'all niggas don't even want to unplug from the matrix. Like, y'all are a bunch of Cyrus. Like, you really believe that ignorance is bliss. You just want to like stick your heads in the sand because y'all ain't kinfolk. All skinfolk ain't kinfolk. Y'all don't want to get free. Y'all don't want everybody to get free. Y'all don't want to do anything hard. Admitting that you have privilege and examining what that means in terms of upending colorist systems is difficult, revolutionary work. It's action. And y'all not about that life. It's better to just deny that the shit even exists. But every time you deny that that shit exists, you're literally spitting in the face of a dark-skinned girl that's sitting in a prison cell right now with a longer sentence than a light-skinned girl. You're spitting in the face of a dark-skinned girl that's sitting in a principal's office right now about to get a longer suspension than a light-skinned girl. You're spitting in the face of a fucking... of a woman, of a fucking black woman that you claim, oh, somebody left some stupid ass comment talking about men don't have systemic power over women and they can't oppress us. I was like, oh, you lucky I'm tired from Toronto, because this comment would have never gotten through if I was my fucking fresh self. Like, y'all don't want fucking freedom for everybody because y'all ain't motherfucking kinfolk and you're still mentally motherfucking enslaved. Fucking Harriet Tubman, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if these niggas knew they were slaves. But guess what? She left they ass. And I will be leaving your ass too. Y'all can't get in the motherfucking car, the revolution car. You can't go. And what I was saying was, somebody had left a comment and they were like, oh, sometimes I wish that we could just like put all the people that get it and like go to our own little island and just like leave the rest of these niggas because all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. It's just like, just because you're black and I'm black doesn't make you kinfolk, especially if you don't even believe that you have the power. This guy was like, light skins don't have any power. The real power lies with white people. What can light skins do? I was like, you know, I actually feel sorry for you that you're this much of a fucking coward. You a spineless ass coward. You don't even believe you have any power. Black people, you have power. You have power. I know it's hard to stop being scared of white people. I understand completely. But like, if you're watching this right now, you got something. You have some internet access. You have a phone. You can read. You have something. You have your fucking hearing if you're listening to this shit. You have your vision if you're watching this shit. All those things translate into certain, vestiges of power that nobody can take away from you, and all that shit can be utilized in the fight against white supremacy. But again, it's easy to say, I don't have power, and you're being divisive, and why do we need to talk about this shit? And why do we need to talk about continental Africans versus black Americans and the rift and try to work through the way that we see each other through this white gaze and this colonized mindset? Why do we need to talk about colorism and the fact that growing up in a system of racism, white supremacy causes us to look at each other in certain ways where we prize whiteness and we prize light skin? Why do we have to do all this hard, messy work of unlearning this shit and working through our own fucking minds? I don't want to do that shit. I just want to deny it and say you're being divisive and motherfucking call it a day. That's not black liberation. That's not black liberation. That's not black liberation. But again, I'm not even mad at y'all because y'all niggas not even ready to be unplugged. If you haven't seen The Matrix, watch it. It was written by a black woman. Google that shit. Like, that's really like my favorite movie. Like, I have a lot of favorite movies, but The Matrix might be my all-time favorite movie because it's just so true of like, and even like the whole storyline involving Cyrus and how he got unplugged and was like, you know what, actually I don't even want this shit, like put me back. It's hard, but we gotta do it. We gotta do the work. So I just, that's just all I have to say about that. I'm so tired, y'all. I've been awake for like a week straight. I'm about to just go home and knock out. Food for thought as always. I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.